pause doesn't want to have dead air.
Right.
Right.
The, I remember we learned that in seminary.
Yes.
They're like, it's called the pregnant pause.
Yes. You have
Pregnant,
mastered it, though. You have mastered it. I just want you to know that.
pregnant with expectation.
Yes.
Just, yeah, I mean, there's a lot in common with preaching and doing radio.
Is
I
there?
think they inform one another. They help, it does. Radio helps my preaching, preaching helps my radio,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a lot of study that goes into preaching and preparation and being aware of the current realities of every day and then presenting in such a way that it engages the listener.
Right, right, right. Absolutely, absolutely. So, folks, welcome to the Power Hour. This is our Friday edition. We're here Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. We also call it like a couple of old guys drinking coffee in the morning at their favorite restaurant, talking junk. Mama named him Cassius. I'm going to call him Cassius.
Oh, geez.
Ah, boy, sitting across from me in his own virtual studio, he's rocking the hoodie version of the old school WURD brand, Bishop Dwayne David Royster.
And sitting across from me, all the way in his virtual studio, is the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler.
Yeah, and I've got the old school T-shirt version. I mean, like literally, we didn't plan this.
No.
But we
We
just
don't coordinate wardrobes, but it's not something that we do.
Right, exactly. But we do coordinate studios because our backdrop is exactly the same.
Absolutely.
Some strange reason. I don't know how WURD put that much money in and built you that studio, built mine just like this. The architects are really fast. But holding it together and keeping us on track each and every day is none other than the queen herself, Kawesa.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am well. How are the both of you doing?
We are yet alive. It's an old Methodist hymn. Are we yet alive? I'm sorry. I don't want to get holy this early in the morning. How was your ride in today?
The ride wasn't bad. Really, hardly any traffic. And it feels nice outside. If you step outside and, take a nice deep breath, and it's just, it feels good out there as of right now. And so I appreciated the weather as I, walked from my, the front door to my car and then, to the, into the station. But yeah, no, it's lovely out. The traffic really isn't super bad. My little ride, I got stuck behind a truck. So that was fun. But yeah, but I made it.
The air. One of these days off the air, you're gonna have to tell me what route you come. We need to find you another route.
Well, so okay, here's the thing. There was another route, but all the detours and doing road work and stuff. So now, like, if I wanted to go similarly to how I used to go, it's a weird like U-turn thing that I always miss every single time. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna go this long way because I don't want to, I don't want to have any issues trying to get in because at least I know that route won't be impacted. But the other route, there's always some shenanigans. So
I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say real quick. It sounds like Kawesa takes the route like the Flintstones because it's always like you're behind like some big, like rock truck throwing boulders at you.
That's how I
I'm
feel.
saying. Like, do we need to get a map out and help you find another route?
I know there's two ways. Actually, there's three. So maybe the next time I'll try the second route. But the third route that I used to normally go, it's bad news bears. I know that I'll end up being late or get stuck behind something or miss a turn. So I just don't even attempt it anymore because that's how many times it didn't go well for me. So.
Understood.
Wow.
Understood. Yeah, actually, I was surprised when the alarm went off this morning. They were like, it's 59 degrees outside. I'm like, wow, really? That's beautiful. It's only going to 82 today, so that should be a very comfortable day.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it felt so. I was out late yesterday at the church doing some things and rode one of the bikes down and just had a T-shirt on when I left the house and my helmet. And I jumped on. I was like, woo.
Cold.
Like, normally I keep like a little, like something long sleeve in the saddlebag just in case, but it's summer. So like, who needs that? Bro, it was chilly last night. But I mean, Quace is right.
Way home, huh?
But it feels good. I mean,
Yeah.
just, I wonder what the weather is like in Tokyo.
No idea.
They do
I,
not want, they don't want the Olympics there.
I'm like, I don't know if the Olympics are going to come off because there's a bunch of the athletes that are now have COVID. I'm like, wow, this is not good.
The folk in Tokyo are like, just go home. You're not wanted here. Just go. What I'm really surprised about, though, is the low national vaccination rate for Japan. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I was
like
surprised by
low,
that too.
like what, 25% or something like that. Um, I mean, it has to be. I'm just guessing a part of availability because Japanese culture is extremely tight, and unlike us where we become like partisan around the vaccine, I can't imagine that's the issue there because in Japanese life you put the best interest of the community before yourself, which is
Right,
very Afrocentric. It's very non-Western. I mean,
right.
kind of look around the world, almost everybody except Western culture kind of has that same philosophy, but it's very prevalent in Japan. So when I saw those numbers, I was like, man, that is like, what is that about? I would have imagined they'd be like hovering about 80% by now.
Yeah, I mean, I expected them to be much higher along as well, and it's actually interesting. So, you know, there are only really a couple of sports that I like outside of politics, and one of them happens to be Japanese sumo wrestling.
Hmm.
So I was actually watching because they have tournaments every other odd month, and so July had a tournament that normally begins the second Sunday in the month, but they moved it to the first Sunday of the because of the Olympics coming up, so they didn't want to interfere with it. So I mean, it's a major national sport there. But the interesting thing about it was that they actually allowed participants in the early in the morning in
Hmm.
the stadium to be able to watch the tournaments. And so when they announced that they were not letting people into the Olympic tournaments and most of the stuff there is outside, I was really surprised because they actually had allowed folk into the tournaments. And I mean, there were probably about 60%, 70% full in those spaces where they
Right.
hold sumo tournaments. So I thought that was a little strange, but like you said, they don't want people from outside the country there. That's really what it is. And they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying, or hundreds of millions of yen trying to get the Olympic Stadium ready, and that was supposed to happen last year. So I guess they didn't want to put it off again.
Well, so Connie says one of our unofficial production assistants, one of our Facebook listeners, said that the word is, and I'm assuming they don't have doctors to administer the doses.
Mm,
I mean, so let me tell you, this is what just kind of makes you angry in life, right? So here you have Japan, if this is true, where they want the doses but don't have anybody to administer the doses, can't get the doses, but would take the doses. And
right.
then you have like the American South has the doses, ample supply, but won't take the doses.
Yep.
It's like when you see in our country physically where it's like it won't stop raining over here and there's floods and torrential downpours. And then in California, there's, drought and wildfires and, basically like biblical plagues and pestilence. It's kind of like, man, just kind of makes you think like Smokey on Friday. Like y'all ain't never got two of the same things.
Wait a minute.
Peanut butter with no jelly, Kool-Aid with no sugar,
I think so.
drought, no water. I'm sorry.
Uh, this is kind of. I mean, this is not funny, but here's the interesting thing about this. So I think, and now I'm stepping into politics here. Okay, I think the Republicans finally realized it was a lot of their folks starting to get sick because they were not vaccinated. Because now the Republicans are like, you need to get the vaccine. You need to get the vaccine. All of a sudden, all the deniers are coming back. So there was an article out this morning in the Huffington Post that Kay Ivey, who's the governor of Alabama, who had really done some draconian things like ended the mask mandate, refused to allow vaccine passports in the school in the state, is now like the problem of the coronavirus is all the unvaccinated folk, not regular folk. And I'm like, whoa. Mitch McConnell came out the other day and was like, you need to get vaccinated. You need to get vaccinated. And I think they're beginning to realize they're losing their voters because they're not getting vaccinated.
Yeah.
And so they're now coming out. And not only did Kay Ivey say they're blaming the unvaccinated, which would probably be a lot of the Trumpicans, but then she also started blaming the news media, right-wing news media, and started blaming them for people not getting vaccinated. And there's several, stations. There are some right-wing stations that are out there now that have been, questioning the validity of the vaccine. Although they are wrong, the vaccine is very efficacious, as Dr. Fauci would say. But, all of a sudden now we see these Republicans turning around and beginning to say, y'all need to get vaccinated. You need to get vaccinated. They're having press conference after press conference telling everybody that they need to go get vaccinated.
The Republicans.
These are the Republicans that are now out there. There's several House Republicans now, Mitch McConnell did a press conference 2 days ago. There were a bunch of House Republicans that came out and said, you need to get vaccinated. Governor Rick DeSantis in Florida, which is Trump country, has begun to urge Floridians to get vaccinated. Steve Scalise, who was a major Trump supporter, received his shot this week after saying months ago he would be getting it soon. He finally went and got the shot, and they're now beginning to push to get their vaccinations in. And I think it's because they're looking at their electorate saying, we need you all next year, and if you don't get vaccinated, you won't be here to vote.
So you think this is all just because they're trying to save the lives of Republican voters?
I think no. I think they're trying to save their political lives.
Oh.
When have the Republicans cared about the voters that vote them into office? They care about their own political lives.
Well, they care about them in November. Oh man, this is crazy. Well, just so two other things on COVID as we get close to the break. So the city of Philadelphia, big front page story, is recommending that you wear masks if you're indoors. And I just think that's right. I've been pretty lax because like everybody else, I'm vaccinated, but I actually, again, know a person who's vaccinated, works in a hospital, who got COVID and was hospitalized. Now, fortunately, that person is okay now. And so I guess the argument could be, well, they didn't die. But the fact is the person actually still caught it. And so this is, we're not completely out of the woods. And to your point, because there's so many, as in Biden's word, the pandemic of the unvaccinated continues, then we've really got to, I think, just be vigilant. And indoors is where you're really most susceptible. And don't let people just up in your face, right? It's like, yo, back up. Just back up. We can have the same conversation from 3 to 4 feet away. And but we started off talking about sports and COVID with the Olympics. The NFL announced that Roger Goodell is like going hardcore on NFL teams about COVID.
Oh, good.
He said, if your team has an outbreak, like, I don't know, a southern state, right? Basically, if your team becomes Texas, then you will forfeit that upcoming game, and it will be credited as a loss and will have implications on your draft picks in the next year.
Wow.
Now, Goodell is, very controversial. And but I think that is the right signal to send, which is like, look, we want to play the games, we want all of that, but for you players out there who are out here doing whatever it is you all do Monday through Saturday before you come to the game on Sunday, just recognize that there will be implications for your team should you bring COVID in and cause an outbreak.
Well, I think that's the right thing to do. There's been part of a challenge because they've discovered that a lot of the professional teams, a lot of the players have not gotten the vaccination. I mean, there's not really many teams that have even gotten close to 80, 85% of their teams being vaccinated at this point. So I think the commissioners of the various sports need to put their foot down and demand vaccination for the players, because I mean they're traveling from city to city. You know, they're interacting with a whole bunch of different sets of people. I mean, let's kill the ability of them to, you know, make it much harder. I can't say it's 100% not going to pass, but make it much harder for the vaccine to pass from one person to the next.
Yep. So let's take a quick break at 6:21 in the morning. And yeah, Tawanda said, I retired my cadre of masks. Need a whole new set. Any leads? I'm with you, Tawanda. Man, I like kind of like put them up as antiques, but I dusted them off this morning. So we'll be right back on the other side of this break. Continue this Friday morning conversation on the Power Hour. I got to step away and get some coffee. We'll be right back.
Hey, WURD family, did you hear? It's official. The Colorectal Cancer Alliance just announced the new age for colon cancer screenings has been officially lowered to age 45 for everyone. If you are 45 or older, it's time to get screened. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to register for your free at-home screening test. Did you know colon cancer is largely preventable with on-time screening? And there's a 90% survival rate when caught early. African Americans are 20% more likely to get colon cancer and about 40% more likely to die from it than most other groups. So for the next 3 months, you can go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner for your free at-home screening test. A screening navigator will contact you to ask a few questions and help you get screened. It's that simple. Again, just go to WURDradio.com, click on the Go to Know banner, and fill out the form to request your free at-home screening test. Go to Know today.
For the past 10 years, Comcast has been helping students get ready. We've connected 5 million students from low-income families to low-cost, high-speed internet. We're working with both nonprofit partners and city leaders to create over 1,000 Wi-Fi connected lift zones in community centers nationwide. And now we're committing $1 billion to reach 50 million people with the connectivity, skills, training, and the resources they need to succeed in a digital world. Learn more at comcast.com/education.
Do you have what it tastes to solve Her's Flavor Mix Mystery? 1 chip, 3 classic Her's flavors, thousands of possible combinations. Pick up a bag of Her's Flavor Mix Mystery and make your guess online today. Your guess could win you $10,000 and a year's supply of Her's. Visit Her's on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter for more info on how to enter. Solve the mystery. Break out the Her's. No purchase necessary. Legal residents of the 50 United States, DC, 18 years of age and older. Ends 8/31/21. To enter and for official rules, including odds and prize descriptions, visit campaign.rtn.com/Her's Flavor Mix Mystery / void where prohibited.
Berger Montague is a Philadelphia-based plaintiffs' class action law firm committed to helping Philadelphia's Black community. Berger Montague maintains a strong commitment to fostering diversity and equity throughout the legal community and in society in general. In 2020, Berger Montague filed a pro bono case against the IRS when they refused to send COVID-19 stimulus checks to federal benefits recipients with dependent children. Thanks to Berger Montague, people across the United States were able to obtain dependent benefit checks that they desperately needed. Berger Montague supports WURD Radio and Philadelphia's Black community. For more information about Berger Montague Law Firm, please call 215-875-3033 or email at info@bm.net.
Want the latest in WURD swag? Check out the shop tab on WURDradio.com. Hoodies, tees, and more in a variety of colors. The shop tab on WURDradio.com. Show the world that you're all about Black. Talk Media. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent Black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Mark Kelly. Tyler, we're here Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest news, happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinions, which we have plenty of.
Yike, man.
It's early in the morning today. Not
early
last night. I know it's coming across. I realize that.
It's all right. I got you this morning, bro.
I appreciate
Just roll. Just roll with me.
Just roll with you.
I'll pick you up. You know, I have enough energy for the both of us at 5 a.m. I don't know.
You're
why.
drinking that coffee. I'm like,
I've always been a morning person. I don't even know why, man. And It bounced on to like one of my kids gets it too. Just jump up and it's like all in your face, just like, hey, good morning. He was like, please get away from me. I didn't. The great thing about doing morning radio is I used to be up like this anyway.
Right.
Like alone. Wish I had somebody to talk to. Now I've got you and all of our great listening family. Abona Hagen says, we're talking about things going back to normal in the chat on Facebook Live, where you can also check us out, or YouTube Live. Says, why would people want to go back to the way it was? People are saying they want to go back to the way that it was. The way that it was horrible, and no one is still talking about the pre-existing conditions that people have that they are not taking care of. Well, I've heard, they're not the first person that I've heard say that, honestly.
No, I mean, really, it wasn't. It was not all that good. We were running around like chickens with our head cut off. And no, I mean, this is giving us a moment to kind of stop, reevaluate, and then, choose to do differently moving forward. Mm-hmm. So I think that's important. And respond to Bernita Francine, yes, I do not drink coffee at all. Do not.
Well, speaking of, that's part of your problem, by the way. I think if I did a blood test, it would be like 25% caffeine. They're like, you're not supposed to have that much caffeine in your system. Like, yeah, I don't know. Started early, bro. I started early. But Bernita also says down in North Carolina, the message is, quote, get vaccinated or you won't be working here, end quote. Yeah. And their legal teams are saying it's legal.
Absolutely. Now, I agree with that, actually.
So let me say this. So, again, we're working on our reopening for the church. And so obviously a part of that is reopening for worship, but we have other aspects. We're 3 institutions in one roof, right? So we have a fully functioning museum, and we also have an archive where, researchers come in by appointment. The archive is a little easier to handle, worship as well, but then it's all the other stuff, and with staff, right? So do we say to staff, continue to work from home? Or if we reopen, do you as a church say you must be vaccinated? So I actually saw somebody who I thought had a good compromise. Mm-hmm. Because people have, it's not people who are just like wackos who don't want to get vaccinated. Some people have legitimate, what I would view as legitimate concerns, right, about a vaccination. And so one business said that the option is this: either get vaccinated to come back to work or get a COVID test every week.
Wow.
And they're like, so if you want to get a COVID test every week, in fact, it was a hospital, because I was thinking initially like, well, how are they going to get access to it? So obviously they have access to the testing, and it may have actually been like every 3 days. I don't know. It's like, it was brutal, but it's mm-hmm. like, we respect your right to say on religious grounds, I don't want to do it, or I just don't think it's safe. But we also have to protect ourselves. So if you're not going to be vaccinated, you're going to have to be repeatedly tested as long as you work here. Do you think that's an all right compromise? Because that's where employers are struggling.
Yeah, I actually think people have to get vaccinated, to be honest with you. We're having this debate at the job right now about what to do around that. And I'm just like, we spend a lot of time around people. And I don't want anyone to carry, and I don't want anyone to catch COVID-19 or any other issue for that matter. So, really wrestling with that. I like the idea of, like, if you don't want to get the vaccine, you got to get tested every 3 days until we're out of this particular crisis. And then if, the COVID-19 turns into like the flu, it comes back every season, it's going to be here long term, then you're going to have to continue to do that until you choose to get vaccinated. I make no apologies about public safety and public health. So, and I used to work in healthcare, so I had to get all kinds of vaccines and shots every year while I worked in healthcare because they require it of you to be able to work in that environment. So I'm all for making sure people have the vaccines, but that does seem like a reasonable compromise. Although there was a hospital in Texas that fired 200 employees because they refused to get the vaccine.
Well, then there's that, right? You just ain't got to work here.
That's right. That's bottom line.
Bro, Listen, for people who are like, well, you should be able to do, first of all, you only have to even get to a vaccine to talk about what an employer can do to let you go or to say you can't work here anymore. It's called a uniform.
Right.
It's a dress code. So if you don't adhere to this dress code, then you can't work here. You can't come in looking like that. Well, why not? No. It is America. You have the right to do whatever you want. You just can't do it here as an employee. And so if an employer can talk about your dress code, talk about your uniform, talk about the hours that you must come in and when you have to leave, then it seems reasonable that an employer can also say, by the way, we don't want you to carry a disease that might kill everybody in here.
That's right.
So I didn't see the story. I think I'm trying to see who posted that. Was that on maybe it was on YouTube. Yeah, Nikki O'Tim. So I haven't seen the story, but Nikki O'Tim is one of our regular listeners, and they, our listeners tend to vet these stories well. Says, did anyone see the mother who buried her 45-year-old son who would not get the shot? So apparently must have died of COVID. And she held a vaccination drive at his funeral, but only 3 people got the shot.
Oh, geez.
Well, but he's probably, hey, kind of, my mother would say, tell me who you've been with and I'll tell you what you've been doing.
Right.
Right. So we tend to associate with people who are like-minded. So if he died of COVID because refusing to get a shot, he probably rocked out with all people who refused to get the shot.
That's really sad that folk just didn't want to take advantage of that moment to get the shot.
Yeah. And yet in Japan, people can't get the shot.
I mean, there's a whole lot of countries that can't get the shots right now, and they want the shots and cannot get it. It's unfortunate, countries in Africa and other places where the virus is running rampant. We don't hear the daily news about it because that's not things that we cover over here. But there are countries that are begging for help to get vaccinations. And, Americans in our arrogance, it's like, maybe I don't think I'm going to get it. We have top-notch docs, top-notch people that are working on this. We've spent money, taxpayers' dollars getting these vaccines together, and we're not willing to take the vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we don't value our lives that much.
Wow. Well, speaking of valuing our lives, and before we get off of here today, we got to talk on the other side about the Raspberry Berets.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get to Raspberry Beret, so there is a mounting campaign by elected officials led by progressive members of city council and joined in by others as well. This started with city council member Jamie Guntier, who demanded that the mayor call the gun violence epidemic in Philadelphia a state of emergency. To which we've kind of talked about this already on the air this week, and we've kind of gone over it. But yesterday there was there was a rally and a number of elected officials. I get what they're saying. I really do. But if Jim Kenney comes out today and says, you're right, it's a state of emergency, I declared a state of emergency. I don't know that stops one murder today over this weekend, sadly. And it just kind of feels like now we've kind of moved into like the politics of this versus real substance, right? My greatest concern with the mayor declaring a state of emergency is that it will embolden those sworn officers of the law, the ones who don't care about our community. And listen, folks, I am not the type of activist who believes it's everybody, but there are far too many. And so for those hundreds of officers on the force who are looking for a reason anyway just to jack up somebody black, to take the mayor's call that this is a state of emergency as the green light to go old school Frank Rizzo on regular black folk like you and me.
Right. Absolutely.
And I just say you have to be careful about what you ask for. because I think you can get everything that you want, that you believe a state of emergency will give you, without even using that language.
Mm-hmm.
Because the first thing everybody says to me when they call me talking about we need a state of emergency, we need to put troops on the ground. I'm like, what troops are you talking about? We need police in these communities.
What, they want to put the National Guard in? That's a really bad idea. We saw that last summer.
No. They're just saying troops on the ground and as an expression about we need more police in the neighborhoods, X, Y, and Z. Again,
yeah, like I said, we saw last summer. That doesn't work very well.
I'm telling you.
It doesn't work very well. You just agitate people.
I get it. But now it's taken on a political dimension. And once that happens, it's like, so if you're not for declaring a state of emergency, then you're not for stopping gun violence. And that don't have to be true.
Wow. I mean, yeah, I do. So here's the thing, right? The state of emergency, it actually in some sense makes sense. But I think it has to be outlined. What does that mean? Does that free up money in the budget to, do programs? I mean, if we really want to talk about state of emergency, here we go. Here's Royster going off again. If we really want to declare a state of emergency, how about declaring a state of emergency around poverty? And then we can begin to address
ding, ding,
violence, right?
That's the winner.
Let's declare a state of emergency around poverty. Not to say that I think the council member's wrong. I get where she's going with this, and I totally understand what she wants to do. And I think that it makes a lot of sense. However, I will say this like I've been saying it over and over and over and over and over again, because I sound like a broken record. If you want to address the gun violence epidemic, you've got to address the poverty, the housing, the education, the food insecurity, the minimum wage, all those things simultaneously. That's what's going to bring it into the gun violence. It's not just getting guns off the street or having more interrupters or having more police on the street. It is addressing the upstream causes or the root causes of what is generating this angst, this hopelessness, and this depression in people that they don't value human life. And that is what it's going to take to address the gun violence epidemic. It is not just Philadelphia. It is major cities across the country. And when you look at those major cities, it is often in distressed, dispossessed, disenfranchised, and disinvested communities around this country that are having the struggle. It is a creation of white supremacy. It is a creation of politicians that have not given a damn about certain communities across this country. It is their fault that we have gun violence happening in our communities right now. And we, unfortunately, have been the victims, and we have bought into the lies about who we are. And as a result of that, we are killing each other at an unprecedented rate.
I'm going to say it in the words of Craig Williams on Facebook. He said, y'all, but I'm going to say you preaching this morning. That's a word right there. I mean, it is. Look, I mean.
Will somebody wake the mayor up and tell him what I said, please?
Well,
please.
Come on, see. I mean, that my feeling there. I think it's time for, he should just resign. I've said it before. And I think that's a part of the problem, and maybe a part of the frustration among elected officials, is that you got a person who's like the epitome of lame duck, right? And it's just, I don't know what you put in his place, quite frankly. But, so I get the frustration. I get the anger. Look, I'm angry too. I mean, this body count is unacceptable.
Absolutely. And the children, oh my God, the children are getting hit.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, this crazy story last night out of Frankfurt, shooting that's still like under investigation. Toyota Prius flipped over. I mean, it's like just insane the levels of violence that are going on. But, we need something more than a symbolic win here.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's like, so we're going to go spend all this energy, all this effort to get a man to just declare a state of emergency. I mean, city council itself has the power to allocate resources to these issues. Why don't you all just do it? I mean, you don't need the mayor for this, right? I mean, you just don't. You have enough votes to outvote him and to sustain any veto. So you all get together and draft what you want to draft and put it forward and just do it.
Yep.
I mean, we already know he is what he is, and we can't fix that. And because Philadelphia is what it is, we knew he would not get a real challenge in his second run for mayor because it's Philly. And I mean, hate to be all Donald Trump, but you could go out on Broad Street, shoot somebody, and still get reelected.
Wow.
That's a whole different issue, Philadelphia, that at some point you got to like deal with. The system itself is broken that keeps putting people in place. And once they get there, you can't get them out. You know? And a lot of you all are complicit because you voted to put him back in. And now you're talking about he should do something. He didn't do anything the first term. Why do you think he's going to do something the second term when there's less incentive? Good God. But then you want to turn around and say to me, he's not doing anything. I told you 2 years ago he wasn't doing anything. And you come upset. We should make it, please. That's a law. That's, in the words of the Old South, that's a lost cause. We got to take a break. 6:41. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about happier things. Bishop is going to tell us about raspberry berets.
There we
we'll
go.
Be right back.
Whatever the world brings, we're always moving forward. Reinventing business, reimagining home, and re-emphasizing community. At PICO, we're redefining support, finding new ways to provide financial assistance, supporting opportunities for good jobs, and uplifting our communities. We're by your side through it all, because whatever the future holds, you're ready to take it on, and we're ready to power it. Find the support you need at pico.com.
Students, parents, teachers, guardians, 100 Black Men of Philadelphia is offering free mentoring programs this summer to help provide an alternative to the gun violence plaguing our city. Our programs build character, body, and mind of our boys 1st to 12th grades through paid high school internships, book clubs, fishing, physical fitness, and more. Register today at www.100blackmenphilly.org and click events or call 267-258-2900.
WURD Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
Using food or grocery delivery services like DoorDash, Grubhub, or Instacart proved to be a valuable lifeline for some during the pandemic. And even as the country opens up, food delivery is still very popular and shows no sign of slowing down. Here are some tips to make sure your next food or grocery delivery goes smoothly. Typically, the best time of the day to order groceries is first thing in the morning, but on most apps, you can schedule your delivery in advance, so take advantage of that feature to help avoid long wait times. Make sure you leave clear delivery instructions for your driver. Provide cross streets, landmarks, or a description of your home if necessary. And leave detailed instructions for your grocery shopper by specifying preferences in the comments in the app. If you're concerned about security within the app, use Apple Pay or PayPal as your payment method instead of storing your credit card information. And of course, make sure you tip your shopper or driver for their hard work. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at wordradio.com.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
This report sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Looking at the Schuylkill Expressway westbound, Savali Building, Broad to Pass Young through construction. Eastbound looks pretty good. Light Expressway westbound, Light Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. I-95 southbound, Cottman down the bridge, some volume building through that work zone. Northbound side, watch for delays between 452 and Curlin straight down to one lane through the ongoing construction. Pretty heavy through that stretch. Northbound 95 through Delaware County. 42, 55, 295. No major problems if you're South Jersey. Looking for a job? Contact Express Employment Professionals and be part of a national hiring event with one application. Express connects you with multiple employers and never charges a fee. Go to expresspros.com, find your nearest office, and call Express today. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a word weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
A sunny and nice day ahead. Bright sunshine, low humidity. The temperature 79 degrees at noon, a high of 83 this afternoon. Pleasant this evening into the 70s. By tomorrow morning, a low of 63. A little bit warmer Saturday afternoon with mostly sunny skies, but the humidity stays low. Then come Sunday, the humidity is back. A hotter day near 90 with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour. This is Dwayne Royster along with Mark Kelly Tyler. Since I've been ranting this morning already, and I know our friends Elder Melanie DeBose hates when I use that term rant, but I had to say a few words this morning to express myself. I actually had I did a TikTok yesterday because I'm learning how to do TikTok. I'm trying to get deeper into this thing to figure out this tool, this social media tool. And actually, I did a TikTok yesterday. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, it's at Dwayne Royster, DWAYNEROYSTER. Come on over and follow me there. And I posted on Facebook and on Twitter as well. But I did this video around the fact that Pennsylvania is north of the Mason-Dixon line. And part of that was I've been thinking about since we went to the president's speech, and he talked about the fact that we're in the greatest battle since the Civil War, that, there are Republicans across the state of Pennsylvania that are basically trying to drag us into Confederacy. And, bottom line, that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to drag us backwards and, limit the rights of folk of color, the battle around critical race theory and everything else. And so I had to remind folk that even though if you actually go out west on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, you stop in certain areas, you will see Confederate flags all over the place and Trump signs. That Pennsylvania has always been a part of the Union and never been a part of the Confederacy, and that we are actually on the border of the Mason-Dixon line, right? So the Mason-Dixon line cuts across Maryland and comes into Pennsylvania, and so that we've always been part of the North. So if you get a chance, check it out, and just a reminder to register and vote. And don't just register, you got to vote too. That's the other piece of this, right? Because they're trying to take that right away from us. So I just wanted to lift that up. Feel free, again, hit me up on TikTok and let me know that you're following me over there as well. I'm going to be putting out these videos periodically. So trying to do some education for folks.
I see it already. One of my daughters going to come in and be like, Dad, you're not going to believe this. Look at this. Isn't that your friend? So hang my head like, yes, yeah,
that is me. That is out there. Actually, my daughter thinks it's kind of funny that I'm on TikTok. She gets a kick out of it.
Yeah, I think it's funny too. Just don't be careful, bro. Don't go viral for the wrong reason on TikTok, okay?
Yeah, I'm trying not to. My stuff, I'm the more serious of, I'm a serious person for the most part. So my stuff generally comes across as being serious. But anyway, feel free to check that out and let me know what you think of the video if you actually see it on Facebook or TikTok or YouTube or Instagram. I have it on Instagram too, so you can check it out there.
That's hilarious, man. So you told me, so Prince from the grave, is he really still making music?
He's still, well, so, we have to define that, right? So just so you know, Prince has got a new album coming out. It's called Welcome to America. It is coming out, I'm not sure what the exact date is. It'll be coming out soon, but they're starting to do the media around it. And actually, it's a 12-track album that was recorded 11 years ago, but they've put it together to because it actually speaks to this moment. Prince was always very timely with his music. That was never a thing. He always was really speaking into the moment. And so they're releasing this album. It's going to, it's going to be 12 tracks. It's actually speaking about a lot of things that are happening in this particular moment in the world. So I guess things have not changed that much since 11 years ago in Prince's mind. And people can begin to pre-order the album now on the official Prince website, and it begins streaming with availability to stream July 30th. So I think that's kind of cool. They said when he died that he had hundreds of masters of songs that he did that he never published. So I guess the estate, the family, are going to begin releasing some of his music that he had not released before. And, I mean, these aren't incomplete masters. They're like complete masters. He just never released for one reason or another. So, new Prince music. I'm actually a big Prince fan. Shocker. And I'm excited about this album.
So I'm a big Prince movie fan.
Yes.
So I mean, well, first because he rides a motorcycle in it, you know.
Yes.
That's a tiny motorcycle, by the way. I saw it in a museum.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that little Honda is like small.
He's only like 5'2" or something. He was only like 5'2" or something like that. He's really
yeah, but it looked big in the movie. But right. I'm like, you can't go too far on that thing. But yeah, but Prince, but you know, and I know this is like controversial, but literally, I could watch Under the Cherry Moon like on a continuous loop. I thought that movie was like totally underrated and just hilarious for a number of reasons. Seriously, he should have done more movies.
Yeah, he was actually really, I mean, I love Purple Rain. I've probably seen Purple Rain 30, 40 times. Just really have deep appreciation for that movie. And you know, it was like my first concert movie I ever saw besides Disney stuff. And, you know, it was just really, really good. So I always, that's like my standard for watching musical movies.
Yeah, and so speaking of Prince and Purple Rain, again, shout out to his father in the film, Clarence Williams III, who we remember passed away not so long ago. Another person that we lost during the COVID era. I can't remember whether it was COVID or not, but yeah. So all of you Raspberry Beret folk, get your berets dusted off. Now I'm gonna start some mess here on the at the very end of the show on the weekend. I'm gonna start some mess with 2 minutes left. In the chat, Prince or Michael Jackson?
Prince.
Who was the best?
Prince.
Yeah, put it in the chat. Prince or Michael Jackson?
Prince.
Yeah, I have to agree with you just on this alone. All right, so let me just say, first of all, it's like saying who was the best, you know, Magic or Jordan. They're like the game is so different, right? I mean, Jordan was like the ultimate leader, scorer. Magic was the one who fed everybody. So it's not really like apples and apples, so to speak, but they're in the same business, so people are going to make these kind of comparisons and what have you. But, you know, so Michael to me was like an incredible performer. He just had that, whatever that is, you know what I mean? But Prince was that and so original. Like the thing that always got me about Prince is that it was like no album was ever the same. I mean, it was like, it was a total departure from the one before, and then the next one was a total departure. Whereas Michael, it was all kind of predictable, and it kept going in the same direction. He never really, you know, ventured far from his Motown days, musically speaking.
Yeah. I mean, I think the challenge is Prince was the all-around musician, entertainer, singer. You know, he was writing the music. He was, you know, doing all kinds of stuff. I mean, I think in many ways he was a musical genius. Not a performing genius or a singing genius. He was a musical genius. And I think it came across in the various ways that he did his music, for sure.
All right, so check this out real quick. All right, so because we asked him, so it is amazing. It's like split half and half, Michael versus Prince. I can't believe it. I really thought that our listeners were more like Prince, but I mean, it's like Nicky O'Tim, Michael, Lola Khan is like two different spaces, but it's Prince. But Michael was great too. Over on Facebook, Prince all day for Harry. Will Mega says Mike got worse as he got older. Prince got better. That is so true.
Yeah,
bruh. That's the
very
true.
Of the day. That's very true.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, it's kind of split right down the middle. I am shocked. I'm shocked because in my mind it seems so easy. Of course it's Prince. Michael's great, but of course it's Prince.
Wait a minute. Tawanda says she's never seen Purple Rain. I'm like, what?
Oh my God.
We're going
Black
to do a
Card
staff
Revolt.
retreat. We're bringing Purple Rain to staff retreat.
Yeah, you need a power staff retreat. Make everybody on power staff sit down and watch that movie. You can't come. Look, you can't come back into the building until you've been vaccinated and seen Purple Rain.
Absolutely.
And the movie Friday. And by the way, it's Friday, and you ain't got nothing to do. I'm done, bro.
All right. Well, listen, everybody, thanks for joining us here for the Power Hour this week. We'll be back on Monday morning at 6 a.m. to bring you the latest news happenings around Philadelphia and, of course, our opinions. We want to thank you, Dr. Tyler, for everything you do to help make this show happen. Kawesa for holding down the boards, making sure that we are live and on all of our social media vehicles. Thank you to everybody that's listened to us on the air, through the app, through social media. By whatever means you got here, we deeply appreciate it, including Alexa. Hey, Alexa, turn on WURD Radio. Now stay tuned for Wake Up with WURD, and we will be back here on Monday morning. Do us and yourselves a favor. Go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.